Hi, so I'm outside. It's August 4th now, about 1 o'clock in the morning, just after 1. I took half of an E tablet this time, about 45 minutes ago, 50 minutes ago. I'm feeling the effects of that. It is a physical poisoning no matter which way you look at it. And that is automatically then also a grounding because it makes you very focused on your physical body. However, the biblical injunction, no harm can come to your body, must hold true if there is to be a constant eternal mind in the underlying of our physically changing environment. So I've kept this log over the last 3 days of my life. I have excluded I've stayed pretty much home while I've kept this vlog, so just going outside, having a puff, come back inside. So you have a record of all of my thinking when I'm isolated. And there's no harm at all in my thinking. There's no depression. It is like taking a megaphone to the world, but there's no, okay, we know that the Air Canada lawsuit was weighing heavily on my mind before I began this, but now I've emptied all of my thoughts onto the internet already. So short of writing a letter to Air Canada, which that'll become Air Canada 4, then I was wondering what was going to become Air Canada 4. So some trailing thoughts. I mentioned anger throughout at least 3 videos today that I posted on August 3rd, 2024. Those could be, if I was doing this, spending more time at this organizational structure, I would title it Anger 1, Anger 2, Anger 3. But I don't want to take the time to go back and look for the references to anger in those videos. So if somebody could send me those 3 links, that would be awesome. I mentioned before the best way to get in touch with me is actually just to go to any of the YouTube videos and leave a comment on any of the videos. I'll register that comment in my email and I'll read it that way, and they do all get read. Yeah, that's like the one thing that gets through to me. If they start getting too nasty, then I'll know the publicity's out there already. Then we'll need a new way to talk, because then I won't. Then I'll just ignore the comments. Then I'll Line app. Okay. So I've used Line app a lot in Taiwan. It's the common app there. It's like WeChat, except it's older than WeChat. Line app could have made a fortune but they had their structure was a little wonky. For example, I've lost 2 accounts. No one's taken them. I just don't have access to them. So I've lost all my contacts, which isn't so bad. I mean, but now I've got a 3rd account. So my line ID is Renee 4 p.m. Imagine that. So Renee number 4 p.m. And if you just download Line app, it's a green, and it says Line app. If you download Line, Line, from Google Play or wherever, and then you can search user IDs by ID, and I'm Renee 4 p.m. And you can and that's like sending me a direct text message on my phone. Now, I don't have a telephone number, so you will never be able to call me because I don't have a telephone number for that reason. And I use internet wherever I go. I don't use credit cards, stuff like that. I am actually a cash-only person usually, not necessarily by choice, but that doesn't matter. I have no interest in the money game. This is actually, I know that my choices are limited in life. I know that I can't go and, pick the White House up with my left hand and say, hey, look at this. There is a reasonable and a not reasonable, and then in between there's a whole gray area that you can argue stuff for. And I'm all for arguing about that helicopter lesson ride / experiment where I get to go with the test pilot, and he lets me fly as long as I respond competently to the question, who has control? If he says, who has control, I will say, I have control. And if he says, I have control, I will say, you have control. Because that's what I was taught to do. when I was learning how to fly planes. However, I want to be with a test pilot specifically so that I can really, like, I mean, we got to be of like mind on this one, because I actually want to test myself on my ability to fly a helicopter without having read a training manual, and I'm really looking forward to this. You see, like, I love flying things and driving things, and so I'm an adept that way. Can figure things out mighty quick. That goes for most situations in life, which has now resulted in this blog, which was actually more or less me working out how to do it properly. Like, if you're going to keep a video log properly, because I don't know if I'm going to have, like, I guess I got to keep a record here. So I'm going to keep a record, but I'll probably keep a record more of echoes and just oddities. And I might start doing some, you know how they have the choir singing, but you don't know that the people are going to sing in choir. They just kind of come out of the audience and then they just start singing. I forget what that's called right now. Anyway, I can do like one of those pranks in the middle of a restaurant or something, like I had described about Tim Hortons before, and have done many times in the past in Vancouver. I wouldn't mind getting back to Vancouver this summer. I really wouldn't mind that. So I'm still up in the air about whether or not to hitchhike back there. But now that I got this vlog out, I could tip Air Canada off, and I could go back to the doctors, because I think by the time I arrive in the hospital, then the doctors are really going to be able to, well, I mean, they already discharged me to Canada, to Ontario, but they left that prescription open for me to challenge them, so I have that right still. But I think if I go back there, I'm hoping we'll be on good enough terms that I won't be injected again. That would be just horrible. Well, you know, if I just kept knocking on their door and going in and going in and going in and going in. Now, what would that prove? That would prove that I'm wasting my time being a nuisance to them. So that one is ruled out. Waste of time. What is the fastest way for me to advertise this? Well, the shorts definitely get far, far more hits than the long videos. The long videos are now there if anybody actually wants to follow along to really get a sense of the person who I am with all my thinking and thoughts, and you know how it all expresses out of me. This one is really me pacing back and forth in my boxers at night, you know, because we do that sometimes. It's also the last video that I've got in the 40 sections, vlog 49. 50 is a good number to start a new one at. And so nothing really has changed in the last 3 days, except that I have put a persona of me on the internet. And that's worth more than a story that I've been trying to type. Because the story that I'm typing is not at all a past tense story. I knew I was writing a story. I had no idea it was a real-time story. So I'm gonna go back inside and have a rest. And then tomorrow's a new day. And I know that August 8th is something special in Taiwan. They call that Father's Day, Ba Ba, because it's 8/8. So, Ba Ba Tian. Gong Xi, Gong Xi, Gong Xi Mi. So, congratulations, it's Father's Day. Maybe, well, you know, anyway, it'll just be a little bit of time until this vlog of mine catches wildfire. I mean, I did describe a plan of how somebody can actually really take over the whole planet Earth. Yeah, it starts right there with the first one, which was really the third video I made in this sequence. So the first one was actually Bobble, bobble.2dream.ca, and then there was con.2dream.ca, and then there was, and this one has many different names, but we can just call it renee.2dream.ca. It's also called the renee4pm.com.2dream.ca. I embedded it. Anyway, I'm going to head inside now, and I wish you guys all a very wonderful time in your life there when you're working out the consistencies to find one common way to look at the world without any judgments. And if you try hard enough and you look long enough and you read John Penal's book there, The Children of the Lost, Children of the Law of One and the Lost Teachings of Atlantis, and you get down to the very last page there. You turn the page and the room disappears and you're all in an area of pitch blackness. Now you know. None of it's real. None of it's real. That doesn't mean think anything about it. It means ask, what is real? And mean it. And be surprised at what you find.